I'm going to talk about food. You know, I have such an interesting job sometimes because I get to work with families all the time on different issues to do with food, with lifestyle and lifestyle changes. And the two things that come out are eating disorders and overweight obesity. And how do we match those two things? We have this enormous fear of eating disorders, particularly in our daughters. Yet actually in reality, and what I'm going to show you on my slides, is that what we should be more concerned about is the overweight end of the spectrum. So really what I want you to understand is how do we chart the path between these two extremes, and how do we get our kids eating healthily, have an interest without it being an obsession in having a good, strong, healthy body without it falling into being susceptible to the media images that we get in terms of what they're exposed to in magazines, in the fashion world, and on television, and how do we protect them from that? The reality is, and this is what I really want to emphasize to you first of all, our kids are getting fatter. If I can tell you the health problem for this century, it is overweight and obesity. Our environment makes it bloody hard for us to keep control of our weight. Our jobs, including mine, demands that we sit down for an awful lot of our time. We are surrounded by food. We never have to be hungry. The minute we're hungry, I can go to the back of the room and get a cookie. We now have a situation where more Australians are overweight than there are normal weight. That's frightening. And the figures are escalating. Within our lifetimes, people, it is going to be more normal. Most of your friends are going to be overweight. And being a healthy, fit body is going to be unusual. What I'm talking about is what leads us to heart disease, to several types of cancer, to type 2 diabetes. Kids as young as 10 and 11 are getting type 2 diabetes. It is not normal. It might be average if your child is overweight, but it is not normal and it is not healthy. One of the problems that we do face, however, is this idea that beauty is about being skinny. Now, these are real images. Now, when I was talking on Thursday with Mia was showing how much photoshopping goes on. But there is no doubt, looking at these images, this girl's ribs being shown is not down to photoshopping. So the problem that we face in this era of us all getting fat is that this is what we're exposed to in the media. And our young children, now I'm going to include boys in this too, because boys are increasingly under pressure. Boys and men are increasingly under pressure to also conform to a certain ideal. We're in this era where we have this enormous concern, and then I have girls coming to me saying, well, my friends are telling me I'm fat. I'm the fat one. I want to be as skinny as my friends are. So how do we walk this line between thinking, well, we've got to teach them that this is not normal and this is not healthy? You have to try to encourage your kids to have better role models. So the more that we can encourage our kids to have our athletes and sports people as role models, and that those of us working in the media start to project more of what is a normal, healthy, fit, strong body, not skinny. If we just look at the last children's survey we've got, the first thing I want to reassure you is that at the moment, most of our kids are a healthy weight. But just look at the yellow column there is the number who are overweight. So we're pretty close at the moment to 1 in 5 of our kids is overweight. The blue is obese, and then the grey is underweight. 22% of the 4 to 8-year-olds were eating enough vegetables. Only 5% of 14 to 16-year-olds were. We're now seeing true nutrient deficiencies. I've got a child on my books at the moment here where the doctor's suspecting rickets. Rickets, for goodness sake. We haven't seen rickets since the 18th century. It's incredible, and it's because of nutrient deficiencies. We're eating food that gives us calories without nutrients. And this is what's happening in our kids. We're also not active enough. And one of the problems with kids is that, again, you know, most of them, 69%, so not bad, are doing about an hour of exercise a day. But the girls in particular get less active when they get up into teenage years. It's great that sport is such a strong player here in Australia. But what we do have to be careful of is that it doesn't segment the non-sporty kids to not doing any exercise whatsoever. So we have to be very careful with that it's not always about the winning. Okay, and it's not always about being particularly good at it. Even when you're not very good at it, you've still got to move. It's frightening how many kids are spending so much time in front of a screen and they're not going outside, kicking a ball and riding their bikes. Thank you very much.